Here you see the vast comic library. Thousands and thousands of comics. Actually, you know what's very useful to have a library of comics because if you need to figure out a good way to draw water, for example, you can go back to one of the old masters of comics. You can look at Terry and the Pirates by Milton Caniff, and you can look at how he designed the water in his panels. A good cartoonist has to have a lot of reference materials because they're going to be drawing a ton of different things. And it's a lot easier to draw it from reference than it is to make it up out of your own head. I was taking an art history class and I was learning about Cubism, which is an arts movement that was started by Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque. And I'll be honest, I paid attention in class, but I never really understood what Cubism was. So I always wanted to do a story that was about Cubism so that I could do the research and I could spend a lot of time figuring out why Cubism was so important. Here you can see some images by a famous French photographer from the period that I was going to be setting my story in. You see I had to draw carts, I had to draw cobblestone streets, and I had to know what those looked like. For reference, I also needed to know what my characters would look like. Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque, the other guy that came up with Cubism. See all these signs right here? I knew I wanted to use that because this was the kind of advertising that people looked at in 1907. So I just put them into the background in this one panel right here. It's a quick way to make the reader believe that they're actually in Paris in 1907, even though they're just looking at lines on a piece of paper.